Hi, I'm Daniel from ligo.co.uk and this is the Panasonic KX-TGF320. As you can see, the TGF320 is a hybrid model. You get this corded desk phone here, which also acts as a base unit for this cordless handset. You can expand this to up to 6 cordless handsets, and this hybrid design really does set it apart from most other phones currently on the market. It comes in around about the £75 mark, which puts it in the mid-range of phones, but it's really good value for what you get with the desk phone and the cordless phone. But is it any good? Let's take a look. Now, I normally start these video reviews by talking a little bit about the design of the product I'm reviewing. Obviously, we've got two things to talk about here, so I'll start with the corded unit since that's effectively the base of the TGF320. Now, if you've been looking for a corded phone in recent years, you might have noticed that the market for these has shrunk quite considerably. There used to be a lot of retro models and business phones, but these have shrunk considerably over the last couple of years as more and more people move to DECT phones like this one. This is one of the few that have remained standing. It's really Panasonic's flagship corded phone, and it's quite easy to see why they've chosen to keep this above all the others. Very smart and sleek looking phone. As you can see, either side of the unit itself and the handpiece itself are this sort of matte black, and then you've got gloss black around the keypad, make it stand out a little bit more. Keys are fairly large, so if you had slightly limited dexterity, this would be a good choice because while there are some big button corded phones still available, they tend to have quite limited feature sets. Speaking of additional features, lots of these buttons, other than the number ones, are for specific additional features, which I'll come onto later in the video, but it makes the phone very easy to use, even though there's quite a lot to it. The screen as well on here, you can tilt forwards and backwards. So if you're using this as a desk phone, you can feel free to put it wherever you like on your desk. You can tilt that just so that you can still see the screen nice and clearly, even if there's light shining on it. As for the cordless phone, that's quite similar in its basic design to the corded unit, as you'd expect, and that design of the cordless one is quite basic itself as well. Tends to be the case with most mid-range phones. Only the more expensive ones really tend to be all bells and whistles, but it does the job just fine. If I lift it out the charging cradle, it feels quite robust, not at all lightweight like a lot of cheaper phones tend to, so it doesn't feel like it'd easily get damaged in everyday use. If I pop it up like that, you'll see you can stand it upright by itself. Quite a few of our customers do ask us about that, as some people like to take hands-free calls like this. If you do, then no problem at all. The buttons on the phone, like the corded unit, are fairly large, not quite as large as these obviously, but big enough to do the job, and they're backlit as well, which makes them a little bit easier to see. As for sound quality, in the past we've generally found that Panasonic are pretty good performers when it comes to sound, and the TGF320 is no exception. We made multiple test calls on both the corded and cordless units of this phone to both other landlines and mobiles. All sounded perfectly fine. There's no noticeable dip in quality when you're using the cordless handset compared to the corded one. Both of them have a speakerphone. If I take the handset of this off, you'll see that there's a speaker under there for the speakerphone on here, and on this just comes out of back there. Both have a one-touch speakerphone button, so really easy to use. And as you'd expect, there is a little dip in the sound quality when you're on the speakerphone, but not enough to affect the call quality whatsoever. We still understand people perfectly clear, and they could understand us easily enough during the testing. And there's an answer machine built in, which I'll get onto later on in the video, but the sound quality on that is perfectly fine as well, so it's all good. When it comes to setting up the TGF320, we've had a few, or more than a few, customers in the past say that Panasonic's manuals are maybe not the most user-friendly to understand. I've got one here that comes with the TGF320. Goes into quite a lot of detail about all of the various features, so it's quite a thick manual, but you're probably not going to be using all of those, so that there's no need to read through the whole thing. And as you can see on the front, it has a little quick start bit in it to just get the phones themselves up and running. It's not going to win any design awards, but it's easy enough to understand, I think. If you're just buying the one handset model of this phone, then the cordless handset will come pre-paired up with the corded unit. If you're getting multiple handsets, you'll need to register the extra ones up to the base, but it's a very straightforward process. Only takes a minute or two for each handset, and easy enough to get going. One feature that this maybe has the edge over Gigaset, which we'd normally rate very highly, is that there's no need to manually push your phone book from one handset to the other. Just put them all on one handset, and then you go on the other handsets, and all of the contacts will be in there automatically. Now, while the TGF320 is a mid-priced phone, it does have quite a lot of additional features given the price, which does make it very good value for money, and also makes it a very versatile phone as well if you wanted to use it at home, in the office, or as a home office phone for the corded unit, and the cordless ones dotted around your house as just your standard landline. It would be a very good fit for all of those uses. The main feature to mention here is the nuisance call blocker, which, while Panasonic phones aren't quite up there with BT in terms of call blocking, they're still a good choice. With this, you can block up to 100 either individual numbers or strings of numbers. So say, for instance, you had 3 or 4 nuisance callers kept phoning you, but they all used different numbers that started with the same string. Just block that string, only takes up 1 slot in that 100, and they still all won't be able to get through. Perhaps more usefully though, or at least what many of our customers say is more useful to them, is the Do Not Disturb mode. With this, you just program the phone to not ring at all during certain times of day, so you won't be bothered by nuisance callers, but you can set VIP contacts in the phone book. They'll still be able to get through, so you won't miss important calls during those times of day, but any other nuisance calls won't come through. The corded unit has 3 one-touch speed dial buttons on. I'm sure you remember they used to be very common on a lot of home phones, but surprisingly not the case anymore, so good to have. Program these to be the people that you call most, or if you're anything like me, Indian, Chinese, pizza, and then they're always at your fingertips. As I mentioned a minute ago, the TGF320 has an answer machine built in. It's got 40 minutes of recording time, which is on the longer side of things as far as home phone answer machines tend to go nowadays. And you can access your messages on both the cordless and cordless units. Corded one has some built-in answer machine controls down here. This little button will flash when you've got a new message, and just hit that to play the messages back. You can record your own personal greeting for when people phone up, or just leave it as the default one, and you can also have it so it just plays people a message saying you're not available without giving them the option to record a message if you'd prefer. TGF320 is also repeater compatible, so you could get up to double the range. That would take you from the standard 50 meters that you get with DECT phones to up to 100 meters, which would be very useful if you were utilizing all 6 additional handsets. It would mean you could spread them out as far as possible. Finally, it's worth mentioning that while most corded phones used to just be powered through the phone line connection, it's not really the case anymore. Anything with a screen like this one needs a little bit more power than you can get through the phone line connection. However, if there is a blackout and you've got a TGF320, you're all sorted. Just pop the batteries out of one of the cordless handsets, and then if you flip over the corded one, pop the bottom off, you can put in the 2 AA batteries in there, so it'll still run fine, even if there's no power from the mains. So there we have it, the Panasonic KX-TGF320, a pretty unique landline phone nowadays that gives you the best of both worlds with corded and cordless, and includes a whole host of extra features that we think make it great value for money. If you've got any questions or comments about the product, pop them below this video, and to get your hands on one for yourself, go to ligo.co.uk.